I am Feel It.
And I am Fix It. And we talk about life.
And stuff and things.
With the occasional rant.
Which you will have no problem doing.
Hello. Good morning. Good afternoon. Good evening. Or good night. Whatever it is, wherever you are, we hope you're having a good one.
Absolutely.
Hope everyone's doing well.
Yeah.
Yeah, not that we're getting any feedback here, but I hope everybody's doing well.
Not yet, no. But that's fine.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. It's awesome. Woohoo. Man, this room is different, I gotta say. Anyway.
We have doors. Now we have doors. That's nice. I have doors. That's exciting.
Yes. The room that was the really dark,
quote, sunroom.
dark sunroom is now very bright.
Mm-hmm.
Very early morning, late nightish kind
My
of
orange
sunrisey
wall.
color. Yep.
And then the pinkish, peachish. It's actually called Beachy Vibes.
Mm-hmm.
I have that. It's very nice.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
It's good. It's good. It's nice. Yep. So we're still making headway. A little bit at a time, making headway on the new place.
Yeah. Yep. One project at a time. I'm not thinking I'm going to get to painting our bedroom today, and that's all right. It's a nice day. Right now it is beautiful, sunny, warm, breezy.
Definitely breezy. Yeah.
We'll take advantage of that and take care of some outside stuff. So maybe take a walk later. We'll see. Doesn't mean other things aren't happening.
Nope.
And then the bedroom would be the last thing I'm going to care about painting for a while, and
Sure.
on to flooring. But
Yep.
yeah,
Flooring.
one project at a time. I'm
Yep.
still waiting on
Sorry,
the survey
Yeah.
to be able to get the quotes on the concrete driveway extension. Like, it's just stuff. It's just one thing at a time. And that's okay. I love that our dog can now, like, get up onto the windowsill like she used to do at my aunt's old house and look out the window. I just think that's adorable.
Mm-hmm. It's still very cute.
Yeah. The windows are at her height, and then the sill is wide enough that she can do that. So,
Yeah.
we did not have that at the previous home.
No.
She loves that.
Yes, she does.
She has learned, the doors to go out, and she'll jump all over you when she wants to take a walk, and
Which is all the time.
which is all the time.
All the time.
They turn the fountains on at the pond, so she just loves it. Oh, the ducks and the geese. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. She's liking it. That's the important part.
She's liking it.
We moved specifically for the dog.
Yes,
Yep.
of course we did.
Yep.
To give her the most optimal environment.
Mm-hmm.
It was all about Dory.
All about the dog.
Yes. She knows first thing in the morning, get up, go down all the stairs to get let out the basement slider. Like she's got it down. And she hasn't had an accident. Oh, excuse me. Since just like she had one right after we'd moved in, like within the first week, but otherwise she's doing fine.
Yep.
She is adapted. And we are too.
Mostly.
And
yeah.
the faster we get our bedroom darker, I think that will help her to not want to get up so early.
Entirely possible.
Ugh. Yeah.
Yep.
Creature of habit. Creature of light, which she was not used to in the previous home. It was very easy. You keep it dark.
Yes, it
Keep
was.
her fooled.
Yeah, we got more windows to deal with, and it's very bright.
Mm,
very light room.
That's fair. Yeah. There's, 2 windows. Yeah, excuse me. Yep.
Yep.
So, I had a topic.
Yes, you did.
And I was ready.
Mm-hmm.
And then we literally sat down in here. The computer was doing some hiccupy, technical, crappy stuff, and you were dealing with that. And we were just ready to go. And then our youngest walked in and decided to tell us something. Like, you chose right now. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're going to pivot. We're going to pivot, and you're going to process with us in real time. What it's like to have young adult kids.
Mm-hmm.
And then, let me back up. So our youngest, we spent like an hour talking to her, and then our other daughter gets home from church, and then she's got stuff she needs to talk about. So we've been in here like an hour and a half, almost.
Yeah, about that, yeah.
So we're going to pivot from what I was going to talk about. We'll save that one. And then you can hear us talk about what it's like to have young adult kids and the real struggles of what it's like to navigate. And I can't even say like one's neurotypical and one's not, right? Because they both have their version. But the needs are pretty much the same-ish. Yeah. Our oldest needs more. I have no idea what she's growling at. No idea. She might see a kid running around in the backyard behind us.
It's entirely possible.
I don't know.
It's hard to say.
But our youngest has made a different career choice.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that we're not supportive. Of course, nobody wants to watch their kids fail.
No.
But there was a reality to the fact that, a 20-year-old needs to start processing life and decisions.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not even that I'm for her decision. You pointed out the obvious things.
Yep.
But then my brain's like tilting. Like that you just spent 2 years on a track and you spent that money and you spent that energy. Like, okay, we're going to try to be supportive.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and all right, I don't know if it's probably come up.
Oh, I'm sure we've mentioned it.
But I've for their entire lives, I've always kind of said I don't care what you do with your life in generalities. If you want to, I've known people, I know doctors, I know lawyers, I know psychologists and counselors and teachers, mechanics, video store owners, which not anymore, but used to, like store owners and factory workers and all kinds of stuff and I don't put a lot of prestige on jobs. There's certain, doctor is definitely involves a different level of education and responsibility, but when it comes down to it, it's still a job. It's still, you're making ends meet. My thing has always been, you don't have, I'm not going to push you into a specific career field or requirement. You just have to understand, you have to be able to put food on the table. You need to be able to live. I'm not saying you need to be able to live lavishly. If you got a little one-room apartment and you're eating and you can pay your bills and you're comfortable, you're content, I got no beef. Would I like you to have more wiggle room? Sure, but that's not necessary. It's more about, can you live and can you continue to live a healthy, productive life? Whatever it is that you find that you need to do that, okay. Our oldest from the time she was little, and we introduced her to her first library, she's been hooked. So it's been kind of a running joke that she's our little librarian. And then she got a job at a library, and it was like of fish to water. It was like, this is exactly the kind of environment that she...
Was it odd in its own funny way because she struggled so much to read and hated it when she was little?
Yes.
Sure.
And then when she found what she liked, yeah, but our thing is like, okay, you work part-time in a library. How are you going to make this support your life? What do you need to do to make that happen? So she's working in that direction. Is it like it not putting any limitations on whatever, but it's like, okay, it's a tall order, but it's doable. Okay, cool. Just keep in mind, you still need to be able to live. Our youngest, who works with where I work right now, but has been going to school for a while, specifically with an eye towards becoming a counselor.
Yep. She was a junior in high school when we talked about it, and she started that track in dual enrollment in high school.
And it's like, okay, you know what? Like, knowing her temperament, it was always a little like, okay, you're not the most social individual. She's not antisocial. She's asocial. You know, she has a very small group of acquaintances, even smaller now. She doesn't open up well. Just some people are just very open and out there. That's not her. But it's like, okay, you know what? You know, you're going to be dealing with people doing this. You know, it's like, and you're okay, cool, all right, awesome. You want to go on that track? Cool. But I've also told him for a long time, it's hard to say definitively what your long-term path is. But it's way easier to turn than it is to get started. So move in a direction. You think you want to be a counselor? Okay, let's move in that direction. Let me support you in that decision. And I have kind of talked about that with other things. It's like, oh, you're kind of interested in music? Well, how are you interested in music? Take them to concerts, get them access to instruments and classes, and expose them to other, like, and maybe they're a musician, maybe they're just somebody that really enjoys listening to music, which, as it turns out, she's just really into listening to music. Okay, cool. You don't have to take it further than that, but when you have an interest, let's see where that interest goes. And if you find that interest is only surface level, that's still cool. It's still an interest, but now you know. You didn't leave anything on the table. Well, she was talking about becoming a counselor. So, like, okay, what do we got to do? Well, today she's like, you know what? I really don't think this is where I need to go. I think I would be much better moving in this direction. Okay. All right. So she's talking about cosmetology. Bless you. Good? Okay.
I think so.
Which there's a part of me that is like, okay, are you just saying that because I keep telling you, no, you can't cut my hair, and the only way I'd let you cut my hair is if you get licensed. It's like this. It's like, bless you.
Sorry.
Which she's just petty enough where that's a possibility.
It is a possibility.
I mean, and not to say that she hasn't always been. I mean, she's our multicolored hair girl. You know, she's.
Sorry.
Bless you again. She's very aware of makeup and hair care and doing things like that. I mean, she's cut her own hair. She's cut her sister's hair a little bit. She's done some kind of weird extreme things on occasion. Not like, okay, here comes another one. Okay, you good?
I stopped.
Okay. So it's not like it's a surprise. It's always something that she's been interested in. And now she thinks she wants to do it professionally. Okay. There's a lot of similarities in between the two jobs, actually. But the focus is a little different.
You think?
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah.
She still will hear people's problems.
Oh, yeah. Well, and I kind of A counselor's job is to sit there and listen to your problems and help you figure out solutions. Or give you the tools to come up with solutions.
You know,
And it's like when you're cutting hair, people are going to, or doing nails or doing somebody's makeup or, whatever. You're going to be telling you their latest problems and their latest issues. And your job is to make their hair look prettier. It's like there's pressure, but the pressure is different. The liability is way different. There's a lot of things that are very different, but some of the situation is going to be very similar, which I kind of get a kick out of.
So
yeah. Anyway, but
thank you. I mean, I could have explained all that, but thank you.
Oh, sure. No,
I'm not sure what to make of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about not supporting.
Mm-hmm.
She was paying for one class at a time.
Mm-hmm.
She was taking responsibility for it to not have debt. Okay. And that's still possible.
Mm-hmm.
But what is that going to look like? Like, you're not going to be able to work, which means you'll have to work and earn money. And
that is that there's a lot that we have to, the reality is there's a lot she's going to have to figure out, and we'll most likely be helping her figure it out because that's what we do and that's who we are. See, there's a lot of things I'm very pragmatic about. There's a part of you that, just kind of automatically just will think you've wasted all this time and all of this money. And it's like, it's like, part of me wants to think that, but there's another part of me that's like, did you learn something? Did you learn something about yourself? Are you better now for having done what you've done than if you hadn't have done it? Do you understand yourself better? Are you closer to the track that you should be on? Then, it wasn't, I have to reframe it. It's like, it's no longer a waste. It was just an expensive lesson.
Yeah, I wouldn't say waste.
Yeah, waste is definitely, there's a part
frustratingly expensive lesson,
mm-hmm.
which I guess I've known, like, she's not a academic person.
Yeah.
It's how do you, 20, okay, not in high school, 20. Nope. There's no repercussion except her own, like, let me back up. You gotta understand, this is the kid that, like, there was no discipline that she ever cared about.
No, not particularly.
She was not one that we ever found the beat on. What does she care about losing? Right? To take something away from her or a repercussion. Like, it was always just like, yeah, whatever. So that's how she has even felt with, like, school. Like, yeah, it's just one class at a time, whatever. Because she's paying for it. It was kind of like her own justification.
Mm-hmm.
But she did care to not fail, yes, because she's paying for it. But now this one, like, in this conversation of, like, but you've spent, like, this money and this time, are you really sure? And she's leaning into the idea, because she's not the best with academics, that this would be a better way to go. But girl, you do understand you have to, like, study and pass exams, mm-hmm. and, your license will depend on that, just like it would have to be a counselor.
Yes.
Only it's something she could do in significantly less time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, fair enough.
Sure. Well, and
fair enough.
The income potential is different as well. But with that is also,
how do you instill enough how important that is when it's a 20-year-old that hasn't had to rely on anything? When I was 20, you know what I was doing? I was going to school.
Mm-hmm.
I was working.
Mm-hmm.
I was married. I had a mortgage. I had bills. Like, there's no frame of reference.
No.
And then I ask myself, as I'm sitting here talking to you, literally right now in real time, have we failed somewhere? Like, yes, they both now, our oldest can as well, like participate with helping to pay certain bills.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, what accountability is there? When she knows she could work for a year to have enough money to go to school and then still pay us maybe 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have to sit down and do the math because she'd have to continue to pay those bills. And then Lord forbid, like she need a car or anything like that else like that in that time frame because she wouldn't be working. So that's another conversation.
It is.
Like, okay, you can't rely on us for all that stuff forever.
No.
So, my head's wrapping around it.
Well, and of
Like,
course,
what is that going to look like?
on the other side of things, though, it's like, yeah.
Because could I tell you that car's got a few more years in it? No, I can't tell you that for sure.
Nope. Can't say that one way or the other. Considering she's driving the one that's been totaled twice.
But not totaled in, like, engine or parts that make it run.
Well,
it's cosmetic.
Well, let's be fair. It's mostly cosmetic.
It is.
But the repair of it would be, for either of the two incidents, is more than what it's valued at. That's why it's
the point.
Totaled twice.
That is the point.
But I mean,
I don't think you could take another one.
Really hope not. I really hope it doesn't take another one. But it still drives good. It's still in it still does its job. But yeah, it's an 11-year-old vehicle with,
I don't know.
220,
230.
Yeah, 220,000 miles on it when these cars were not known for doing that. So we've been very blessed. But see, we've watched other people and other families and other situations over the years, and there's been a number of times we've seen, kids graduate high school, they turn 18, and the parents are highly motivated to get them out of the house. Now you're out on your own. A lot of times it means college, other times it means like, it's like, hey, you're 18, you're, whatever, you can, find your own place and do all this. And it's an absolute freaking disaster in most cases.
Yes.
And in part, it's...
More often than not.
Well, and in part, it's multiple pronged issue. But it's hard to teach what you don't truly understand. And most people truly don't understand finances. So it's kind of hard to teach your kids finances. And then most people, there's a stigma about money. It's like, you don't talk about money. Well, like, if you don't talk about your situation with money, how are your kids supposed to learn how to deal with money? So you kick them out on their own and they don't know a dang thing. And you wonder why they're suddenly 20, 30, 40 grand in debt. Or they've never operated under their own rules. So now they're in college, could be states away or on the other side of the state from their parents with no adult supervision. And you wonder why, like, okay, well, they were such a good kid. Why are they suddenly this absolute drunk idiot? Like, well, they've never had to operate under any rules. You always controlled every aspect of their life. And now they have no reins, and they've never been taught how to rein themselves in. And so we saw that, and like, okay, we want to make sure we don't do that. They need to understand the concepts of money better than we did, and which anything would be better than what we had. The concepts of doing. I think I've mentioned it. I've grown up around a lot of ministers over the years. and ministerial families over the years. And there's this all too often stereotype of the pastor kid being a little hellion at some point, either while they're young or after they get out of the house. We've seen it. I've seen it so many times it's almost cliche. And I'm a person that likes to I like figuring things out. I like puzzles for the most part. I like to understand how things work. And you see some pastors' kids that are very dedicated and they go on into the ministry themselves, or even if they don't go into ministry, they're still healthy, godly people. And it's like, what's the difference? And I've seen a lot of times, or at least, in all honesty, I could say every time, but I'm sure there's an exception. There's a difference between understanding the whys and why nots for yourself and operating under the whys and why nots of your parents. If your parents say don't do this, you don't do that because you don't want to get in trouble. If your parents say do this, you do this because you don't want to get in trouble. You're not doing it because you understand, well, they said don't do this and they mean don't do this because of X, Y, and Z. Because if you do this, then bad things like this happen. And you do stuff like this because if you don't do it, things fall apart. If you understand that for yourself, they become your own rules and guidelines, you'll continue to follow them. If the only reason you're doing stuff is because your parents made you, then the first time that your parents are no longer controlling you, you don't have any reason to not do it. And that's why you see so many kids when they go to college, they never partied when they were at home, but once they get to college, they're drunk all the freaking time, or they're experimenting with drugs and partying and all of that stuff. It's because they didn't understand the reasons they didn't do it before weren't their own. We've tried very hard to not just give rules and guidelines, but tried to make sure that our kids understand the reason behind those rules and guidelines.
Yes, that's fair.
So that it's like, and it's, I'm a firm believer if you can't explain it, then if you can't explain why you do something a certain way, then why are you doing it like that? Which has put a lot of things that I've operated under a microscope over the years. Like, okay, I've always done it like this, but why have I always done it like this? And, little kids are really good at asking why, but why? And so you have to examine a lot of stuff. And so there's a lot of things that I kind of let go because you're right.
I can't explain it all.
I can't make it make sense to me. I just always operated like with that.
Now to bring this around to the point.
Yeah. To bring it around to the point. One of those things is you're allowed to change your mind. You're allowed to pivot. You're allowed to adjust. Sometimes there are certain things that I believe are irrevocable. It's like if you make a vow till death do you part, okay, then it's that's kind of, you're going to kill yourself trying to make it work. And it's like, yeah, it's like making this work is going to kill me. We're going to keep going because I said until death do us part. That was the promise I made. Didn't make a promise I was going to be perfect. It's like I'm going to do everything within human to the nth degree. I'm going to keep trying. Most things in life are not that irrevocable. You're allowed to pivot.
Well,
and
I did.
You did, and
I did.
I
didn't have the same relationship with my parents. I wasn't in the same position. There's something about, and this is not where we went into the conversation with our daughter just before we started this podcast, is what is God's best, and seeking that instead of only looking at what you think you're good at or not good at. And she said that she's had this interest for a long time and she's been considering it. She considered therapy because she thought she could like it and it would be good money. Okay, that's fair.
Which is fair.
But it's not always about money. I want to be clear.
It needs to be a part of the equation.
Because, people that live on and do missions their whole lives don't have a lot of means, right?
But they need enough.
But they need a certain amount, yes.
Yeah.
But my point being that wasn't where we just went in the conversation with her, but that is certainly part of it. And I ignored when I was in high school and I wanted to be a therapist and I talked myself out of it, didn't think I could be good enough. Then I eventually pivoted toward paralegal. Okay. And that's when I went back after I had our oldest child. Did work in that world for a bit and then pivoted.
And you were
pivoted on God's calling.
Sure.
At a time when nobody thought I should even be considering. I was still pretty ill. They thought it had lupus at that time. It wasn't even, I had not been diagnosed with Lyme yet. I just knew that I didn't want to continue to be a paralegal. I didn't want to continue to live in that world. I didn't even want to change specialties. I just knew that wasn't the right thing. But that was a trust and a call. That isn't the conversation we just had. We just let her talk, right? We're like, okay, how is this going to look? Have you thought about this? You can't be in the student program anymore. You're going to have to work full time. You make really good money.
She does. I mean,
so
way better than.
And if you go full time, you're going to have the benefits and the things, and how's that going to look? And just this stuff that there's got to be some answers. There's got to be some answers.
Yes,
because that's part of being an adult. Is having to look into these things. Dad can't do it for you.
No. There's certain things I can and a lot of things I can't. But
now, is it nice to know she has supervisors that would fight over her to go full time?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sure. That's great. Is she often bored with the work and is I don't understand why people complain about this and why they can't do it? Yep. All the time.
Oh, yeah.
But then now you're saying you're going to do this full time when you haven't done it full time yet, consistently. The summer program has been the full time. The rest of it's been part time. So now you're talking adult world, babe. You're going to work. You're going to earn the money. You're going to save the money. And your responsibilities around this house are going to continue to increase because we all agreed on that before we got here. Life was going to have to change. Your sister had just gotten her new job. And you, considering she was going to be a student still, it doesn't change the fact that toilets still need to be cleaned and tubs need to be scrubbed and food needs to be made and you live here. Now, is it nice that she lets the dog out every morning so I don't have to go down 2 flights of stairs? Yeah. The morning she's home. But now summer's coming, she'll be full time. She won't be home.
Yep.
So that means I will not have her to help me out. Thank God I don't need eye drops the second I open my eyes. Back in those days, that would have been rough. Anyway, it's a lot to process. And I brought this up and I pivoted to this. You're not parenting at this age. That's not what this is.
No.
There's still a level of interaction, not even liability, right? Because 20 and 22. But when we bought this home, when we talked about a future and we had people questioning us why we would want a bigger home and blah, blah, blah. It wasn't like we were seeking the bigger home. We actually looked at smaller homes because eventually it will just be us, most likely. Maybe not. Maybe they won't leave. I don't know. They talk like they're not going to.
Well, I keep telling, like, at some point, we can completely redo the basement and turn that into one entire little apartment.
Yeah, you could.
For one
pretty easily.
Whichever one gets married first.
Right? Pretty easily. You could.
A little selfish there. It means any future grandkids are in the same house. And I can get baby time anytime I'm home.
And technically,
Just
the
saying.
upstairs could become something too. Technically.
Yeah,
But anyway.
but screaming baby, I would much prefer to be on its own floor.
Downstairs.
Well, I mean,
more segregated with the door.
well,
Is
like
that what you're saying?
we bought this house with the intention of making it so we could live on the ground floor.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's like if came right down to it, we could do that and have one daughter and her husband on the basement and one daughter and their husband on the second floor, and we just interact in the living room. It's an entire possibility. I am perfectly okay with having 3 generations in one house. Everybody backing each other up, supporting each other, and helping each other out. I love that idea. I grew up on the Waltons, so that's.
Well, right now, what we're looking at is a step toward that level. Right?
This place would have the capability of doing that.
It would.
Not that was necessarily a big part of that equation.
Not what we were looking
but,
for.
But
the stage is that step, right?
Yep.
Where they live here and they help pay as they should. And I say as they should because not everyone believes that. Oh, they're in college. Let them just be in college. And that's not what my daughter chose. Our daughter chose she was going to go one class at a time and she was going to work. Well, and she wanted to have her own money. She didn't want to rely on us.
And we negotiated that as adults. We negotiated the arrangement.
Yeah.
And
that's what she wanted.
And
well, before she turned 18, that's what she wanted.
Yeah. But I mean, we discussed it and we negotiated. It was, at some point, all right. As a parent, when your kids are little, you're 100% parent. Mm-hmm. And the older they get, you move from parent to mentor.
Yeah.
And the more parenting they need, the less of a mentor you are, because those are not the same job. And now our girls are in their 20s, and we're never going to be 0% parent. But you're never not their parent.
No, but I mean, when I say parenting, I mean leading, guiding, responsible for, making decisions for.
Yeah. Yes. And
not the literal sense.
Yeah, but I mean, there's always a little bit of that because that's the first sort of relationship we had with them. But now it's mentor. We assist.
For as much as they'll take it.
Yeah, we assist and we guide and we advise. And in some ways, we support where we can. And we enable. I think we enable.
Yeah, not in like the toxic sense.
No, but I mean, she wants to go. She wants to continue going to school. She's pivoting and wants to change. We have she's not going to get a place that she's got food, car, insurance, cell phone, place to live. There's no way in any way
she wants for nothing.
Yeah, she has no actual need that is not covered. And there's no place in this country where she would get all of that as cheap as she's getting it right now. So we're enabling her to progress forward by absorbing that extra cost, which isn't really an extra cost in our regard. I mean, we've been taking care of her this long. But
she's not paying a full rent.
No, she's not paying full rent.
She pays her car insurance and her cell phone.
Yep. She carries some of the load as a young adult should.
And I think they pay like $50 toward household.
Yeah.
That's it.
And which
it's not significant.
She's carrying some load so that she understands the requirement, of being an adult. If she moves out, which she's entirely.
What did she tell you yesterday about my Mother's Day gift? What did she say? You were standing right there. Do you remember?
It's like, you want your card cleaned, and she's like, I will happily pay for that.
The whole thing.
The whole thing.
Yeah, it's not even half-seas with her sister.
No.
She'll just pay the whole thing.
She'll happily pay the whole thing because it's like you get what you want, and she doesn't have to do it.
Every once in a while, she'll pony up on the whole thing,
which is silly, but at the same time, it's funny. Anyway, but
plenty of funds because she is good about saving her money.
Mm-hmm. Her silly things are not that much. Yeah.
My point, and what I will wrap my head around is in the idea that it's not about, we can't make the decision for her. We can't tell her what to do. We can be as encouraging as possible. Mm-hmm. Do I wonder if it's the best idea? Do I think she's selling herself short? Yeah, I do.
Potentially.
I actually do. And I doubt highly she's taken into consideration that this is what God would want. I say that in that that's not necessarily been her bent. She had to do just as much healing as we did.
Mm-hmm.
And that has changed her relationship with the Lord. That has changed her outlook on herself. She has struggled very much with that. I know. So on one side, I can say, I do think she's selling herself short and thinking it's too much work to become a counselor. Because I do think she's very capable. On the other side, I could say it's a big deal that she'd be willing to put herself in a position to be around people and interact and still have some liability to become a licensed cosmetologist, because
sure.
that's still, you still got to learn. Yep. You still got to do it.
Mm-hmm. There's still work. There's still all of that.
And we kind of have joked, and so is our hairstylist, because the girls and I have the same hairstylist for a while, that like, she's just not a real big people person. So it was one thing when she thought she was just going to work with kids, and I said, well, you're not really just going to work with kids. You're going to have to work with adults too. But that being said,
kids come with parents.
Yeah, that being said, it's just one of those, we wrap the head around it. We'll talk with her more on it. We'll help her actually plan and look at numbers and schools and real options and opportunities and application processes. And I said, I don't know what wait lists look like. I don't know what semesters look like. You know, there's a lot to figure out. Are you going to want to drive downtown every day? Are you going to look somewhere intentionally not downtown? Just that kind of stuff. And then our oldest, with her issues are more related to social interaction, which again, I kind of other side of the spectrum, in that the idea that she does have social problems when she has worked so hard to try to learn to interact better with people and understand social cues, and she's doing much, much better than we thought she would. There was one point where we really wondered. But these decisions that she has to navigate, they are very, very big deal to her. Very, very real. Because her social network is significant to her. And she's gaining a sense of awareness and what's appropriate, not appropriate to tolerate from people. And just for the sake of having a friendship. So that's also a big deal.
Most definitely, yes.
So I don't want to be dismissive about it. Do I always have the capacity? No. And I've really had to admit that to myself. I admitted that to you yesterday in an angry moment. I do not always have the capacity to take the Bose surround sound, neurodivergent, nobody's on the same page ever way of thinking that happens in this household. It's exhausting often. And of course, do I check myself? And because when I tell my clients all the time, especially the parents, different methods and techniques and ways to be able to just tolerate or give yourself a moment or whatever. It doesn't mean that I'm not human. As I tell my clients all the time, I try not to be a hypocrite. And I go through the things just as much as anybody else. They don't always know all the details of all the things. I'm very careful with the details of what I give, but these aren't easy times. Having a child, as my daughter's therapist said years ago, having a child with autism is no joke. It is no joke. It does not matter, whatever the extent of the challenges are, and she's worked very hard to overcome and continues to work hard. It does not mean that it's not difficult. There are days that are more significant than others, situations more significant than others. Was I happy every time am I happy every time I hear like her friend group, like they came over yesterday and they're screaming and yelling and they're having a good time, and it's such a blessing because it's not what we ever thought she would be able to have. But they've accepted her. They're very kind, considerate young men. We're grateful. We're grateful that we've made it to this point, right? That we've certainly had some rough times and there'll be more to come, but this is where we are, and it's one day at a time. It's one breath at a time. I guess it's just, I don't know, we happened to be coming on to record this, and I thought, why not talk about it? It's a pivot. It's a pivot. And it's an odd stage to be in.
I don't disagree. It is definitely, yeah, it's interesting.
She's got more free money than I do.
Yeah, well, I mean, that doesn't take a whole lot.
But then when she talks about, spending a bunch of money and, well, if I get so far into it and then I just decide I don't want it, I'm like, girl, I don't think you understand. Pretty sure the price of poker here is going to be a little different. Yeah, there's going to be a lot to, it's going to be a lot to figure out. And then I guess you're going to be chauffeuring her every day. So you have to switch off those cars more often.
Yep.
I apologize. Are you looking up something?
Nothing important. I just had a thought. It's just not a big deal.
Okay.
I had to bring it up before I forget. I don't know if anybody else does this, but it's like, hey, you know what? I need to look that up. And then when you get an opportunity to look it up, I knew I was going to look something up.
Because we all have handheld computers and we can all just do it in any given moment.
Yeah, it's like, let me look this up right now, lock it in so I can go back to it and find it later.
But while we're pivoting, right, and I will follow this up more with the topic next week. But so the topic I was considering was like shame, guilt, things of that nature. I've run into different situations that have kind of put it on my heart, and then it occurred to me that one of them being my own. So we're going to parallel this idea that, like, did we do it right with our kids, and are we still doing the best we can to just let them grow and flourish and make their own mistakes and have their own natural consequences, but not so far that, like, we're going to have to carry them forever. Anyway, we're going to kind of pivot over. So I'd been researching a few things. I'd started with that new gynecologist I'd mentioned a few months ago, back in January. I started. I needed more specialized care with my situations, and the doctors I had just were not able or willing to provide it, and then I didn't have the best luck in the last year getting appropriate help, which led me to have the surgery. Not to say it wasn't going to happen anyway, but I'm at a different place now. So, researching different things, trying different things. This doctor had discussed something with me a while ago that I sat on because I was like, I just don't have the capacity right now to make more decisions. We're at the time it was like we're getting our home ready to sell and going through this process. And anyway, so when I had my normal checkup, I'm finally pretty much stable with the hormones I'm taking. Blood sugar is completely under control. I feel better. Other than, the honest and obvious stress of moving, of just the physical side of it, the mental and emotional side of it, it's real. Moving is not an easy task, right?
No.
It's not like we could hire everybody to do every single aspect of everything. And we don't have the funds to hire somebody to take care of all of the projects that we are now dealing with all the time. So, all that said, she brought it up again and wanted to talk to me about some of the new studies that are out there. Told me I could certainly research it for myself. I said, ironically, I've already seen it. I'm against the extreme of it. Mm-hmm. Okay, now I'm going to say what it is. Okay. So now everybody sees the ads into things, right? It's all about image when you hear about GLP-1s. It's how fast can you get weight off. It's not the health components. It's not the inflammation components. It's not about the conditions. It's about none of that. It's how fast can you get weight off. It's vanity. Mm-hmm. It's honestly, I can't even fathom the amount of money that must be raked in the pharmaceutical community.
Yeah. Oh, it's huge. And so nobody thinks I'm too far gone. It's like, it's the vanity thing. It's the people that don't really need to lose weight that are taking this stuff to lose weight. It's like you're harming yourself in the name of a goal that you're never going to achieve.
And not doing it correctly. Now, I want to be clear. I have also heard a lot, researched a lot. Dr. Ben Bigman has some amazing stuff out there. The microdosing is what you hear the most about now, right? The microdosing. Mm-hmm. And that's like half doses of regular doses. Okay. And a lot of that is done through these third parties. Like, they say there's a doctor on the other side that's overseeing all of it. And you don't even always know if that's always true. Okay. I don't want to name names on some of those sites, but I've heard of some stuff. And I have clients that are taking it, right? And paying these companies. They're not going to their primary care. They're just going through a company. So I say all that to say, I had been researching and can no longer find one medicine in particular from a particular online company that you see ads for with, again, a reputable company, but I can't find this particular medicine on there anymore. And it's expensive. I mean, you're talking like $400, $500, $600 a month. And that's certainly not in the cards. So when this nurse practitioner that I started to see had mentioned if I'd considered any of it, she knew I'd been busy. Yes, I have actually looked into it. And I can't say it. It's here, if I pull it up, I'll pull it up and then he can say it. You can say it.
Sure.
You're just smarter than I am.
Yeah.
It's the T word. And I'm like, I don't even know how do you say that?
Yeah. Medical words.
Okay, what is that T word?
That's a petide. Terzepatide?
Terzepatide?
Sure, terzepatide. Okay.
Now, you hear about this in different forms. You hear about this in the name brands, right, that you see them advertised in most significantly is Zepbound. However, you can just buy the terzepatide, if that's how you say that, terzepatide in generic pill form from various companies, right? You can also buy pill form through your pharmacy. It's injection or it's pill. Anyway. There have been more studies that show that it is good for inflammation. she specifically wanted to talk to me about information she had obtained on MCAS, mast cell activation syndrome, in some of the studies that have been done that have shown that tirzepatide can be beneficial. And that is specifically, I want to be specific. It's the two-prong, not just the GLP-1. It's the two-prong approach. It's I don't even remember. This is how ridiculous I am talking about this. It's the two receptors that it actually hits. I think it's GIP. I think is what it's called. I think it's GIP and GLP-1. GIP. Anyway, two-prong approach. But the whole point is you don't just take it for the sake of the weight loss so that you're jacking it up to the highest dose possible. You're actually titrating it to what do you need to feel better and lose weight. But you're still going to have side effects. So Fix-It and I had talked a little bit about it before. He was on board with whatever I was comfortable with. I didn't know how I felt. But I got to say, these last few weeks, I know there's just something about moving that is stressful in and of itself.
Always.
But just that fatigue and exhaustion and that awful sick feeling just from doing stuff. You know, like, I do feel so much better, and my neuralgia is under such amazing control, but it is so frustrating. It is so frustrating to feel so awful, and just the idea, like, okay, if some of this is coming from the obesity, which I understand there's a whole lot of science behind that, but it's the double-edged sword because it's difficult to get the fat off that would be part of the inflammation unless you do something to get it off. But if you have metabolic syndrome, then it's very difficult to get it off, which would explain why this entire time I've had such trouble getting it off, keeping it off. What if this could provide something? And I said, well, my biggest number one thing was I had a doctor tell me a few years ago that I was out of the running on that because I have one kidney. And she said that is not the case at all. That was misinformation, and probably somebody that didn't bother to really take a look at, nor maybe, and because I said this was a few years ago, it wasn't entirely so prevalent a few years ago. The idea that they haven't done more studies now since then where it's the lower doses. That's why that you see that micro dosing all over the place all the time now, right? Because they're trying to push it in any way. Mm-hmm. But it's you can take less and still get benefit. Not everybody's going to go all out, total extreme. Okay. So, there's, checking into the insurance and all the things. And lo and behold, of course, even with medical necessity, which well-documented medical necessity, unfortunately, my husband's policy does not cover any injectable or pill form of anything that has GLP-1 in its description. So, okay then, because there were other options besides this, but they won't cover anything. Nothing in this context of medications, right? Pill, injectable, none of it. None of the brands. Cool. Good to know. In fact, it sounds like even if I were diabetic, that might not even be the case. So that's a sad, scary thought, but okay. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. I made the choice. We're going to do it. She was very, very honest. We got to keep that water intake up. That's the best thing for the kidney. Watch the side effects. We went over all of them. I had a tiny piece of chocolate this morning and I thought I was going to gag on it. I literally Googled before we sat down to start this, can Zepbound change? Not a sponsor. Change the taste of foods. Yes. Oh, that's good to know. Just like yesterday when I drank that pop, well, not even, I had a quarter of it and I started feeling absolutely terrible. And I Google carbonated beverages and Zepbound. Nope, not recommended. Oh, I guess that was good to know. We're going to try this. We're going to see how it goes. If it's too much and I feel too awful, no. Well, there's a lot of unknowns with it. Some people adjust. The idea is, in the studies that have come out that are more receptive to the idea of lower doses, the benefits from lower doses, not going all out just for the sake of going all out. You get to the dose you need to meet what you want, and then you stop, right? There are some benefits to that. And it's up to me whenever I'd want to stop taking it. But will it make me feel better? Will that help at all? I don't know. But I'm willing to try. We will monitor everything. And this is a very preventative, proactive, kind medical professional. And I have ran into few. And you've been with me when I've heard some nasty stuff come out of people's mouths.
Yes. On many, many occasions.
She was all about this isn't about shame. This isn't about, trying to be perfect. This is about what can we make better. No guarantee it's going to happen quickly. Okay, I get it. Like, I told her my concern. I'm 100% upfront. I already don't eat. It already doesn't bother me. And you're telling me like the number one side effect is to not want to eat. My problem is not eating. My problem is that I don't eat. Something about this, and I know that she's given me websites and resources, and I came home with a handout, and I know I've read different things online, but there's something about this that just makes all that work in your favor, right? I don't get the science behind all of it, but okay. So it's something to do with stabilizing the insulin sensitivity, stabilizing the inflammation and the different markers. And you were sitting there right there with me last week when we were talking to my MCAS specialist, when he was talking to me about how my inflammation is probably significantly worse and it wouldn't be the best time to do blood work, right? Mm-hmm. So you were sitting right there.
Yep.
There are moments when, like, especially lately, I mean, I know we painted for hours this last weekend, but like, it was a lot. That was very hard on me. Very, very hard on me. So is it something I might have to take lifelong? Maybe. Am I going to care by 70 if I gain weight back? No, probably not. Are they going to come out with better things along the way? Maybe. But I can tell you that it's only been a few days and I don't feel... The most nauseous I felt was last night after I drank some of that pop. I love Zevia, not a sponsor. I love it because for me, I can drink it and it doesn't spike my blood sugar, and like they have different flavors, and I loved the Salted Caramel. I was upset when I couldn't find it anymore. But it's something. Right? It's trying something. When you're in a position like me and you're complicated and nothing's simple, nothing is straightforward, nothing is cheap. I said, let's do the quick pens until I can get to a dose, and then wherever we stop, I'll get vials. I'm like, fine. We have some FSA money left, some flex spending account. For those of you who don't know what that means, we have some of that left. Cool. So we have the money to pay for it. Fine. We've got this year. Next year's next year. This year's this year. I'm kind of torn, She encouraged me to try to be excited because, they had a lot of success in their office. She sent me information about the studies. If you work out, that is the biggest thing. You've got to work out to gain the strength, to have the muscle mass, to keep the muscle mass. That's the big deal. And because you're not jacking up to the higher doses, you're not going to lose the muscle mass as the problem is with the higher doses, right? You keep the lower doses. You do strength train on a regular basis. You eat well. Protein has to be high. Protein has to be up there. 120 to 160 grams a day for me right now for where I am with my weight. 35 grams of fiber. So we're talking about the same diet that I'd been talking about that was supposed to create the deep ketosis. Same thing. High fiber, low carb, high protein, moderate fat. Now, the idea of eating 5 to 6 times a day, I'm like, okay, I was struggling to, find the time to make myself eat 3 times a day, but that's on me. That's my schedule. I can control my schedule. I will figure that out. Because I did feel very quickly what she was saying. I had this on a Thursday morning, right? That day, I felt exactly what she was talking about. Pretty instantly. I've had the one injection a few days ago, and the last few days have been the same. It's not even that I ever cared about food before. I just don't want anything. Like, I don't even have cravings. Like I said, I had the piece of chocolate and it didn't taste right, and it's 100% cacao. I've been eating that for years.
She likes it. What can I say?
I do. And I tasted it and I was like, this tastes awful. What is going on? And I looked it up and lo and behold, this is going to be interesting. But I want to share that now because that is part of this journey for me. It's part of a health journey. It's part of where I'm at. I do very, very much believe that there's a shame topic that could be brought up in that. Because we're in a culture where that's kind of what drives a lot of this. And I've stuck my heels in the ground pretty hard with different medical professionals. Like, you're not going to shame me or guilt me or berate me into making any decision. Mm-hmm. You're not going to judge me into it because I was going to do what the best was for me. But I do understand there's a stigma that's kind of attached to these drugs. I remember we had one of our neighbors that we were near had said to me that she was taking it and she felt like it was cheating. Well, it's not cheating. It's not cheating. But she admitted to not working out and basically just not eating. Now, was that the best for her? I don't think it's best for anybody.
No, not really.
Period. And not just because I've kind of become radicalized to strength training, but because it's just not. The older we get, the more we need it, regardless. And again, what made Fix It feel better about this for me was I said, we're not going all out. That's not what this doctor does, or this doctor's office does. That's not what this nurse practitioner does. And she also told me she didn't even want me to weigh myself. I said, that's cool because my scale's still packed up in a box somewhere. I'm not even sure where it is. Now, of course, my daughter unpacked it yesterday, or the night before. But I'd said, she said, good, I don't want you to get on it. I don't want you to look at it. Just give us the 6 weeks. Get used to taking it. Get used to how you feel. Get used to eating different. And we'll move forward. So just a very different approach. So I want to encourage anybody listening to this that does struggle and does have feelings about that. Like, not every medical professional is a jerk about weight. Because I've seen men and women alike that have not been kind. And I'm not morbidly obese. I'm not. But I understand the point. And if the point is health and quality of life, what's going to give me the best? I'm the first one to admit I don't eat enough, and I am working on a new client schedule that will give me that opportunity. I'm the first one to admit that strength training has been non-existent since we packed up my Smith rack. So too long. We're trying to work on that now. Like, we're working on that now. What isn't going to push me so hard to work on my house that I still have the energy to work out? I have to find a balance. If anything, this is a new shove that I have to. It is not a choice. I will not lose what I worked so hard to build. I will not. And I will not keep myself from being able to get better when I worked so hard to change. You know, I've got a chart up in my kitchen for a reason. My chart is up there. It was day 2040 when I started this. April 30th. It was just a few days ago. Right? So I've still got that chart up for a reason. And I just want to share that with everybody. It's kind of where I'm going to go with the whole shame topic. But it wasn't an easy choice. It's taken me a few months to choose to do it, but we're going to figure it out. Am I blessed to have the SFA account that's an option? Yes. Yes, I am. And we won't pay for that pod, not a sponsor forever. And, you know, that's going to have to go toward it. So if anything, this is what I'm going to say. I might not have this, the medical budget may have changed drastically over the last few years, you know, with the insurance changes and the stuff and network changes and all that. So basically we don't have a whole lot of expense right now as long as we stay with the providers we have, right? Mm-hmm. Great. What a blessing. That means we have that $3,400 a year, what hasn't been spent on chiropractic and a couple of other things that we've gotten some charges for. We've got it. And I'm still doing what I said I would do, which is earn money to do what I can to make things better. And part of that is still what can make me better. So, was not an easy choice, but I want to encourage everybody that's nothing to be ashamed of or judged for.
Nope.
Because everybody's got to do what they got to do. I just encourage people highly to do it right. That's the important thing. You got to do it right.
Yes.
I have to do it right. It's not an option. I have not watched my husband's sacrifice and my family's sacrifice for nothing. So we're picking back up, and I believe this is definitely a season of God making all things new. So,
well, and
I'm going to ride in it.
Well, you know, we were talking, our daughter has made a pivot, and you've made a pivot, and we have made a pivot. Sometimes,
it's okay to feel okay.
It's okay. I mean,
it's okay to feel okay.
It's okay. And sometimes pivoting is easy. It's obvious. Other times pivoting is harder, and it requires a lot more soul searching and effort. And sometimes you pivot going, man, all of this time and effort and money I spent on that previous path, like, was it a waste? Or, you know, was it worth it? It's like, well, you know, if it brought you to where you are now,
it was worth it. It doesn't mean I'm not upset about how some things have gone, but it was worth it.
It would, you know, you've got to put it in context. It's like everything that you do in some way or form is an investment. Some pay off, some don't.
And sometimes you do have to work a little harder than others to extract some of the positivities.
Well, sometimes you've got to choose.
You got to choose.
You got to choose to look at the good stuff. Because sometimes when your life pivots, it's because the world spun underneath you, and now you're in a new direction. But you still have to choose to move forward with where you are now. But yeah, like it's a season to pivot.
We're all doing it.
We're all doing it, and we're all moving forward. And hopefully you're along for the ride, and you get to hear more about it in the future.
We appreciate y'all.
Most definitely. And
we'll pick up on the shame element next week.
Yeah, we will. We will
get a few things more to talk about that.
Yeah, we do. And I'm sure we're gonna have
some for letting us pivot today.
Yeah. That was a nice pivot. Anyway,
nice. I got some things to process.
What we're processing here, and you know, like we said, early on in this. It's like we talk about our life and our stuff and our things, and hopefully you can get something out of it, or you can relate and you get a little comfort out of the fact that you're not in it alone. And or maybe we can help you avoid some of the pitfalls in the process of living your life and going through your own stuff and things.
Mm-hmm. So many stuff.
One way or the other. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you got something out of it, and I hope you tune in next time.
Yeah.
Or there is we have 93 previous episodes that you can.
Oh, we're coming up on 100.
Yeah, we're coming up on 100. There's 93 previous episodes. By all means, get out there, take a listen. Maybe you get something out of it, and let us know one way or the other. We'd appreciate it. Not all of them are available on YouTube. I haven't figured that out yet, but I'm working on it. And anyway, as I normally say.
Yes.
With all that being said, I'm Fix It.
I'm Feel It.
We hope you join us in the future.
Until next week.
Y'all have a great one.